group of firefighters in North Carolina, 17,000 firefighters, maybe 500 fire departments. That's a lot of territory and a lot of people to cover, so we need more people to join.
Good afternoon. Welcome back. Yeah, I see folks still trickling in, and again, welcome back to the delegate orientation and general session of your fire rescue conference. It's really important that you be here today for a lot of different reasons, but listen, the association is not just about your executive committee and the things that we do and the committees that we have that get things done. The bottom line is the South Carolina Fire Rescue Conference is your conference. This is the opportunity when you as delegates truly run the show. By our bylaws, you run the show this week. Once we've called this thing into session, it is your conference. And so it's very, very important that you and delegates, as delegates, are here to be informed, and that's what we're going to be doing today. And you're going to be hearing from the different committees and the different folks that are in charge of initiatives that we've set forth, all with the goal of benefiting you. So it's very important that you're here. If you've got delegates from your department that aren't in here, I want you to take out your phone and text them right now, put it on Twitter that you need to be in here. But before we get started with hearing from our different committees, I got to introduce a couple of people that have really impacted my life and become friends. And they're going to be doing a program starting after this session, and they're going to be doing it twice today and again tomorrow on uniting your passion and voice. Now, these are two that you probably would have not necessarily paired together. It's almost like a kind of Penn and Teller kind of show. But I want to bring out Mike Galliano from Seattle Fire. He's a captain in Ladder 5. And I also want to bring out, you probably know him from Air Management. He's been the keynote speaker here before. Listen, I did not dress him, and I promise his wife didn't either. He told me, he said, is it all right if I wear this Hawaiian shirt? It's really kind of loud. I'm like, that just doesn't even describe it, my friend. But I also want to bring out, in just a minute, he'll come out in just a second, Paul Combs. And you probably don't know Paul Combs by his face, but you know him by the many faces that he portrays as the editorial cartoonist for Fire Engineering, as the owner and operator of Paul Combs Art. And he's also a firefighter EMT with Bryan Fire Department, the city of Bryan in Ohio. And so you guys are just going to give us a little teaser, I guess, about the program that you're going to be doing this afternoon. My daughter is planning on coming and sitting in your program. She's excited about it. So turn it over to you. Thanks.
Well, apologies in advance if we traumatize your daughter, buddy. All right? Okay. Hey, are you guys having a great time? Huh? Has it been, what's the one word you can use to describe this conference? Just give me one word, just to get me fired up here as we talk about this class. What's the one word? Exciting? What else? Training? Yeah. Outstanding? Leadership? Yeah, well, I'll tell you, my buddy and I, Paul Combs, we have decided to put together a class for you folks today, and we're excited to deliver it. We're going to give it a couple times, and it's called Passion, Tools, and as you would imagine with Paul involved, cartoons. And our heartfelt belief is that every one of you sitting in the audience today, wherever you come from in this great state or from the states surrounding for this conference, every one of you has a contribution that you can make to the fire service. We're not going to be as good of a service if you don't make that contribution. You've been given talents, you've been given gifts, we believe, by God, that can impact our fire service in an amazing and incredible way. And so we're going to spend some time talking about delivering those talents, some of the stuff that again, God has given you. You know, it'll become pretty clear to you. You know, I feel like I have some talents, and, you know, I try to use those for the betterment of the fire service, okay? And during this class, we're actually going to demonstrate some of the things that we've been successful at in our fire service career that has made our calling so wonderful. And we're actually going to do some drawings, and you're going to get to see that some of us have amazing, amazing talents in the world of art, right? We've been gifted by God to make incredible cartoons and drawings and presentations that are just, you know, that would hang on the Louvre, maybe, that would hang in the great galleries, that maybe you could hang in your firehouse. You know, being able to articulate with just, you know, a few little pen and ink things. Are you starting to feel it? Because I'm feeling it. I'm feeling it, okay? And only certain people can do what I've just done right here in front of you, okay? Understand that. But you have gifts and talents too. They may not be my gift. They may not be my talent. You know, this is what I've cultivated through the years to be able to do. I'm able to, you know, I hope at least in some small way articulate the great passion and the great vision that what we do. And we're going to show that to you in our class. And we're going to, if you can imagine, you're going to get a chance possibly to walk away with a gift from our class to walk away with a memento, just like what you see right here, from somebody who's obviously been gifted, again, by God, with an incredible voice for the fire service. Fair enough? Do we got you hooked? Okay.
Hi, Mike. Who drew this?
I'm not exactly sure what's going on here, but it's not looking good for me. Has there ever come a time in your life when you broke into a sweat? Okay, before I slink off the stage in shame, let me just say that over the course of the next, couple hours, Paul and I are going to do our best to try to build and teach into your lives, I hope, what you've seen a little bit right here. Do we all have gifts and talents? Some of us are less gifted than others in certain areas. Amen? Amen. Okay. In Passion Tools and Cartoons, what we're going to try to articulate for you is what you've just seen encapsulated on the screen. Every one of us has a voice, an ability, a passion, a talent, a tool that we can use to make the fire service what it can be, what it should be, and what it needs to be. During the course of the class, you're going to actually get to see the creative process that you got to see a glimmer of right here. You're going to see how one of the most gifted men I've ever met articulates for us in the most concise way I've ever seen tips, tools, ideas, and concepts and philosophies that we can actually take back to our fire departments and make them better. And I'm going to do my best, not through what you've seen right here, but through the story of writing and through the story of words and articulating that your passion for the fire service can be lived, it can be breathed, and it can be real for your firefighters. So, I know you got a lot of choices, but on behalf of Paul and I, we hope to see you there, and hopefully we'll get to send you away with not only a memento of the class, with some good stuff that you can use to make your fire service career better, and more importantly, to make the men and women you serve with better at what they do. So thanks, gang. God bless. Good job. Good job.
Sign it.
Good job. Because I know which drawing you're going to want. God bless you, gang. We'll see you soon.
Who wants a one-of-a-kind Paul Combs / Mike Galliano editorial cartoon? Raise your hand. Clarence, it's yours, brother. And you know what? Here's another little plug. They're doing this class 3 different times, which is going to produce 3 different Paul Combs original pieces of art. And the only way that you're going to get it is you got to go to the class. So as they do these classes over the next 2 days, and again, 2 today and 1 on Friday, they're going to be giving away the original Paul Combs art that they're going to be doing in that class. So I hope that you'll show up. In addition to that, Paul will actually be in the exhibit hall at our booth, at the association booth tomorrow, signing the conference prints. He actually did what you see on the back of our T-shirts, and so he'll be signing those in our booth tomorrow. So please stop by. Thank you once again, guys, for a great job. Now, as we kind of get into the orientation portion of our program, I want to call out Chief Bruce Klein, who is the chairperson of the association's Health and Safety Committee, to give a report on our SC Fit Challenge.
Good afternoon. First thing I'd like to do, and Jonathan doesn't know I'm doing this, is to, on behalf of the membership, thank Jonathan, Joe Palmer, and the staff for putting on such a great conference and providing such great leadership this past year. So thank you. The President has asked me to come up here and speak about the South Carolina Fit Challenge. This is an individual challenge. He wanted us to develop this challenge. It's a competition amongst your peers. We are looking for firefighters who want to change their life, who want to become fit, become in shape, and compete against your peers. There is an application on the association's website. You can go to our booth in the exhibit hall and speak to any of the staff members and ask how you can become involved in an individual fitness challenge against your peers throughout the state. It would be recognized at next year's conference. We need you to step up and take this challenge. We will provide medical oversight. We will provide nutritionists. We will provide South Carolina Fit personal trainer. We just need you to step up. And we're all here. There's a bunch of us in this room that need to change our lifestyle, to need to become more fit. And we're looking for you out there to step up, fill out the application. We'll review the applications. We'll pick several, and then you'll compete. And like I said, we'll put peer fitness people with you. We'll put medical people with you. We'll put nutritionists with you and guide you throughout the year. And next year, hopefully, you stand on this stage, accept your award, be appreciated for your accomplishments, and change your life completely. So I think it's a great directive by the President. I know the incoming President will continue this challenge, and I hope next year to be standing up here with that person who has completely changed their life. The President gave an example this morning, 90 pounds that man lost. His life has changed, and we want to change your life and provide you with many more years of being a firefighter. So thank you, Mr. President.
You know, as leaders in the fire service, it's not just our job to make sure that you go home at the end of the call. It's our job to make sure you go home at the end of the career, that you walk your daughters down the aisle, that you see your sons graduate from high school and college. And for some of you, that means to make it that long, you're going to have a lifestyle change, and that's what it's all about. It's really not about the competition. It's not some kind of contest. It's truthfully the only competitor is you. You're competing against yourself, and I applaud Brian Brazier for what he's done in and of himself with the help of others, but to lose 90 pounds since October. So again, thank you, Chief Klein, and I appreciate incoming President Vinay's willingness to carry that on. Next, I'll ask Darren Player to come and give us our Elections Committee report.
Per our bylaws, I'm in receipt of the letters of intent of all the candidates that are running this year. We have 2 candidates on the ballot for the office of 4th Vice President. Those names are Trey Atkinson and Greg Merritt. These candidates will be presenting to you all in the morning, the delegates here in this same room at 9 o'clock. They'll be timed. We won't let them go too long, but they'll be presenting to you all. The polls will be open tomorrow in room 202 from 11:30 until 1 o'clock. Please, everybody don't come at one time. Every year we have a long line of people, some who even leave the session early and get in line. If you will just come staggered, nobody will have to stand in line. This year the process should be a whole lot better anyway. In addition, if you were chosen by your chief to vote as an online delegate, you will not be able to vote in room 202. You will have to vote through your email. How do you know if your chief chose you to do it that way? You should have received or have received email tests and notifications from the association as the delegate for your department. If you did, you are voting online, and you can do so at any time this week via your computer, your smartphone, or at the association booth by logging in to your email. I'll be available after this session to answer any questions, or you can see Joe Palmer for those. Thank you, Mr. President. That's my report.
Next, I'll ask another partner of ours from state government, Lieutenant Craig Collier from the SLED Arson Unit, to come and give some remarks.
Good afternoon. On behalf of Chief Keel and SLED, thank you for having me back again this year. There we go. I'm pleased to say that we've come a long way in the last year to provide service to the state of South Carolina and the fire service and law enforcement. What I want to do this year is go over what I did last year, is a very brief overview of what we have to offer at SLED and kind of our chain of command. Chief Mark Keel is the chief of SLED, Assistant Chief Ben Thomas, Major Dave Tafawa. You'll notice a very large void this year. Last year, Captain Frank Conrad's name was on here. He is retired as of about a week and a half ago, which is a big loss to us and the Fire Service South Carolina. Tammy Rawlster is still our administrative assistant. We currently have 9 special agents in the arson unit and 1 canine handler. We're hoping to get another canine handler and dog within the next, hopefully in July, we'll get another spot in the budget. Nothing's changed as far as the protocol. You can still dial 737-9000 at any time, 24 hours a day, and get the operations desk, and they'll transfer you to the duty officer who can get you hooked up with one of our agents to help you out. The types of fires we respond to still: church fires, fatal fires, residential fires, commercial and vehicle fires. Like I said in the past, vehicle fires, the only time we come to a vehicle fire is if it's a very substantial vehicle dollar loss, or if there's a body in the vehicle. It does not include automobile accidents. The Highway Patrol mate team works those. Church fires and fatal fires, we respond immediately upon request. If it's a non-fatal fire, or not a church fire, if it's a residential fire, if you call in the evening hours, we're going to ask that you can secure the scene till first thing in the morning, and we'll respond to help you at that time. Reason being, you can't effectively process a fire scene at night. If all you want is someone to help you come shovel a fire scene out, guys, call me. I'll send somebody to you. The days of you having to believe that there's a suspicious fire to get us to come, those days are gone. If you ask for my help, I'm going to give it to you, with one exception. If the scene is not secured, I can't send somebody to you. We don't process scenes that have been unsecured because we have no scene integrity. We can't testify in court to what that happened to that scene from the time the fire happened until we got there if it's been unsecured. We can do origin and cause investigation for you if that's all you want, or we can do the entire investigation, or we can just provide manpower to help you dig. Whatever you need is what we're going to provide for you. It's important. We're not here to take your case and push you out of the way. If you call SLED, I'm running the unit, and I'm going to make sure that y'all are kept in the loop 100% of what's going on, why things are being done the way they're being done, and so forth. We have, like I said, currently 9 agents and 1 canine. I have several in the upstate. I have one that lives in Anderson, Greenville, Spartanburg. My canine is also in Greenville. I have 2 in Florence. These are agents I'm talking about. I have 1 in Beaufort, 1 in Lexington, 1 in Fairfield, and I have 1 in Somerville, 1 in Dorchester County. So if you don't live near one of those areas, it might take a little bit of time for them to get to, but they are coming straight away, and they'll get there as fast as they can. Here's the contact information. Please write it down. This is, if you need, you can call me directly. My cell phone is the last number on this list. If you have any questions as to whether or not you should make the request, please call me and ask me. 24 hours a day, doesn't matter. Call me and I'll walk through the process and help you with that information. What I want to real briefly do now is just give you some information with our unit over the past year. Well, last year in 2013, for the calendar year, we had about 157 requests for service. We made 138 responses. The 19 that we did not make were calls that were declined. They were declined by me. I'm the only one that can decline a fire at SLED, and that's because all the fires come through me. The only reason I'm going to decline a fire, like I told you earlier, is that the scene is unsecured. If there was a fire 2 or 3 days earlier and we weren't called, we can't come out to that time and investigate a fire scene. There's been way too many possibilities that something could have gone wrong. So please call us at the time of the fire if you want our help, and we will be glad to help you any way we can. We made responses to 37 out of the 46 counties. Thankfully, SLED still consistently carries about twice the national average for arrest rates on arson fires. The national average is about 15%, and SLED consistently is around 35% on our arrest rate for fires. I'm looking at a map right here that y'all can't see, but it's a map of the state, and I have here by county, the number of calls we receive for assistance. And there are a whole lot of counties on here that have no numbers in the county. I just want to reach out and please encourage you, if you have a fire that you want help with, call us and I'm going to send somebody to help you. Our biggest request in county was Colleton County with 14 requests. Union had 7, Jasper County had 9. Just reading some of the higher number ones. Spartanburg had 5 requests, Anderson had 7, Lexington had 6. So please, you know, we're a valuable resource if you use us. We don't cost you any money. And it is our only goal is to serve you folks and help whenever we can when it comes to fire investigation. I'll be around for a little bit. If you have any questions, please flag me down, and I look forward to serving you all for the following year. Thank you. Have a good day.
Next, I'd like to introduce and ask to come out to the stage Chief Tony Dix, who is the chairperson of our Recruitment Retention Committee, as well as Brian Reeby, who is our SAFER grant-funded Recruitment Retention Coordinator.
Good afternoon. It's been exciting this year working with recruitment and retention. We've got a horse that gets it done here for our state. He's been all over the place and working with our career and technology centers who want to get a program going that's going to show the fruits of that in a few years as these high school students move through and get to their firefighter 2 and get out there to help the volunteer fire service. As well as Brian's been working on a lot of other avenues for trying to help the hometown fire department get a program going, or we can even go out and sit down with a group of folks at your station that want to do some recruitment and retention and get you on the right path. So there's a big toolbox available for you as a fire service on our website. We're at the recruitment and retention booth, all this weekend as well, to work with you individually if we need to. And I just want to do this before I get out of the way here. I want to recognize the members of our committee that worked real hard this past year, and that's Henry, or Mutt Bozard, as most of y'all know him, as well as Jessica Weinberg from Clarendon County Fire Rescue, Trey Cooper from the City of Marion Fire Department, and Luke Riddle with Belton Fire Department up in Anderson County, Greg Gambrell with North Fire Department in Orangeburg County, and I don't want to mess up and forget Sheila Fryer with the Association Office, who has kind of kept this little group together and kept us informed. So thank you for your service on the committee for this past year, and things are still moving on with recruitment and retention. So Brian, it's all yours. All right.
Thank you. Good afternoon. Now I got to have it better than that. Good afternoon. All right, you ready for some R&R? R&R. R&R to most people means what? Rest and relaxation. Well, I hope you are getting that this week, but for our committee, it is recruitment and retention. I just have a few brief subjects to bring to you as a matter of business that the committee has accomplished this year through the grant, and I will advance this. Coming up behind me will be Rick Dunn with the South Carolina Fire Academy. He will inform you more about Fire Chief 101. It was approved by the steering committee. The committee went to work, had a lot of effort put to it. I thank all of those committee members. Thanks were given to the Chiefs Association as they met on Tuesday. It was rolled out to the chiefs on Tuesday, and it will roll out to the rest of the state after this week. Rick will bring you up to speed with that. In addition to Fire Chief 101, I think I may have some of Rick's slides here. Let me see. Yep, these are Rick's slides, I believe. These are some of the things that were involved with that process. I've got some technical help coming here. Oh, they don't have my slides. Oh, thank you. Well, that's a key thing to know before you walk out here, Rick. I started into your presentation. Fire Chief 101 was approved, as I said, and as rolled out. I'll leave those where they're at. We went on with the committee. Another chief aim of the committee was to get into the high schools. We learned that across the state, in those career and technology centers that were teaching our high school students to be firefighters, some were teaching certification level courses. Many were not. We hired a curriculum developer. She wrote the curriculum, had a lot of involvement with a lot of folks in this room. I am happy to say that through those efforts, that the State Department of Education approved that curriculum, and it will roll out into these career and technology centers beginning this fall, 2014. And as Tony mentioned, it will still be several years before we will see the benefits of that, but we're happy to have had that occur. The other thing, you will see a lot of that around this week. Tony and I are both rolling around with these neat little R&R. We'd ask you folks, communicate it back to your departments from now until the end of June. Please go to the scvolunteerfire.org website. It is a landing page on the association's website, particularly for volunteers. We updated that, redesigned it. We've got a survey on there. We want you to take and answer those survey questions. We will select a winner at random from all of those who enter that contest, and they will receive an iPad for filling out that survey. You see a lot of the other branding elements throughout the booth, throughout the complex here, because we've realized that you don't have to fight the fire to help. That's one of the focus areas that the committee kept going back to. The National Volunteer Fire Council and others have continued to impart to us that, you know, if you've got somebody in your community, someone who's willing to drive a truck, someone who's willing to give you administrative and support help, someone who is willing to design a web page for you, someone who's willing to do public relations for you, each one of those individuals adds value and adds benefit back to your department. Do you need the firefighters? Yes, we understand that. But we want you to open your minds a little bit, open your doors a little bit. That landing page provides an area, a way for those who have that interest, who see our message, who hear the ads, to contact electronically. That contact comes to me. And what I do is I do a little research, find out what department they are closest to, and I put that back in that chief's hands or back in a captain's hands. And to that end, I just ask, if you receive a contact from me, that there is someone in your area who has said, I am interested in volunteering for your fire department, please reach out to that person. It's just like, how many of you fish? Let me see, show of hands. How many fish? We got quite a few in here fish. All right, what happens when that rod tip starts to dip? You got to hit. What are you going to do? You're going to set the hook, aren't you? All right, it's the same way with marketing. We're putting the message out. We have folks who want what we're there for. They want to be part of that. So at the very least, please, if I send you a contact form, contact information, I ask you to send an email, make a phone call, invite them to the station, get them in your hands, see if they're what you need. The association, I don't know your particular staffing needs at any point in the day, but as these names roll to us, we want to make sure that you're aware of them. It may be that your roster is full. You might have to say, not now, but let's be in touch later on. So those are some things. We're happy to report on those, and I thank you for your time. Look forward to speaking to you in the booth. Thank you very much.
Next, I'll ask Rick Dunn from the South Carolina Fire Academy to come and give us a report on Fire Chief 101. Fire Chief 101 was one of those initiatives that was kind of born out of our strategic planning committee several years ago, as we recognized the need to provide some coursework and courseware to elevate the level of leadership that we have for our fire chiefs. So, Rick, if you'll come out and you're going to talk just a little bit about that.
Well, I know my slides are up because Brian just showed them. So, yeah, it's really, hey, our team, incredibly humbling and excited opportunity this past year to work with a number of fire chiefs from across the state, both with the Firefighters Association and the Chiefs Association, to create Fire Chief 101. And it's truly, it is a fully interactive, it's a fully interactive program. It's a fully interactive program that's on the Fire Academy's online training site. You know, this is where we're hosting it. It's there. It's free. It's open to be able to do that. We also have a version available that is as an in-person piece with that. And if you're interested in that, you can contact the Chiefs Association or the Firefighter Association, and they can arrange for a fire chief to come out and deliver that program. This program is it has interactive video components that have activities and things along with the way. It has roundtable discussions all the way through it of talking about different subjects as we go through of some of our steering committee people and some of the fire chiefs across the state. And this just is not about the larger career departments, but also some of the volunteer groups as well as combination departments as we go through. There's learning activities throughout, and these are interactive modules that are available online that's tracked, and those activities help reinforce the lessons that are being taught throughout the program. There's also helpful hints to bring things out and to highlight things that are available there as well. And then finally, we do have avatars, and this was like a first for us, is to have our avatars, which is really that cartoonish character that's kind of lead you through the program and be able to bring those hints and everything out there. So Fire Chief 101 really was built off of a concept that the association had with their Fire Chief's Handbook. And in that program itself, in that handbook, there were multiple sections in there. We divided those into 4 main areas. One is so you're a fire chief. And again, whether you're a new fire chief or a seasoned fire chief or a chief officer, there's a lot of information that can help you through that area. The next section within the program is managing your department. And in managing your department, there's everything from conflict resolution to HR functions, whether, again, as a volunteer department or as a career department, and things can help you there. The third section is keeping your department safe, and then the final section is what's next. And this is training and other educational resources and recommendations for you as a chief officer, an executive officer, of what are those things to kind of go along with you. Also with Fire Chief 101, we're bringing along another program and kind of helping with this initiative is our Fire Chief Summer Blitz. And along with Fire Chief 101, we also have with that is a facilitated discussion or forum discussions that the Chiefs Association and Firefighter Association will send a fire chief out to your department or out to your Chiefs Association or your county association and have those discussions that you have brought up within Fire Chief 101. So if you want to schedule one of those again, contact your Firefighter Association or Chiefs Association. But with us at the Fire Academy, we're also partnering with NFA to provide to you 2 brand new NFA programs. They're 2-day programs. One is Politics in the White Helmet, and the other is the new Fire Chief 1. These were released by NFA late last year, or midsummer last year, directly to us. And we've done a train-the-trainer with this, with chief officers across the state, and we're scheduling those right now. If you want any information, stop by our booth, grab me, grab one of our staff people, and we have flyers that have all of this information in there about the program, or ask your associations, and they can help you as well. Thank you so much.
Now representing our higher education working group, Chief Marion Blackwell from Spartanburg.
Russ Fryer said the lights were bright this morning, so I brought appropriate reading glasses. A few months ago, Executive Director Joe Palmer invited several fire service individuals to come together in the higher education working group. I'm going to list those individuals so that if you see them today and you have questions, you can speak to them. Be Dr. Jack Abram, assistant professor, Erskine College, also retired chief from Clemson University. Rick Dunn, who just spoke, faculty from South Carolina Fire Academy, also retired chief officer from Columbia. Chief Steve Graham, Bowling Springs Fire District, Greenville, South Carolina. David Green, chief officer with Collington County. Dr. David Griffin, captain training officer, Charleston Fire Department. Philip Hill, who is responsible for the Associate of Science, Fire Science degree, Greenville Technical College, among many other things there. Assistant Chief Mike Norkett, Myrtle Beach Fire Department, and myself. We met a few months ago and we looked at a survey that had been given to the chief officers throughout the state of South Carolina back in the early 90s, and also that survey was repeated in the early 2000s. And we compared the results of the two surveys and found there wasn't much difference between the early 90s and the early 2000s. Since then, there's been a lot of programs that's gone online and other various delivery methods. So we want to put that survey out again to the chief officers. So you'll be seeing that coming out after the conference has concluded in the next few months. But we also want to see what the perceptions are on the firefighter and company officer level. So you're going to see several individuals walking around in the conference today and tomorrow with Galaxy notepads, and there's an 11-question survey on SurveyMonkey they're going to ask you to take, and please take it. Whether you're intending to go back to college or not, or whether you've had college or not, please take it. Because we want to know, one, is if you're interested in going back. Two, if you are, what's keeping you from making that next step, and what incentives would help you make that next step. We want to take that information and then compare it to the information we get back from the chiefs in the next few months to see if the chief's perception is the same as what our line firefighters are. And from that, we want to build a web-based clearinghouse on the Firefighters Association to provide information on delivery methods, advantages and disadvantages of those different methods, regional and national accreditation, what that would mean, a list of incentives that are given out by the different departments, college and university programs that are available. There's several that are available under different methods. And finally, we want to provide a blog, so to speak, of students that are currently engaged in college to allow them to talk about the classes that they're in and what they think of their professors, which may or may not help you in making a decision of whether or not you will take that class. So please participate in the survey that we are trying to present on the floor of the convention center, and look forward to providing information to you in the future.
Next, I'll ask Chief Dennis Ray from the Lugoff Fire Department, who's the chair of our Member Benefits Committee, to come out and offer a report. And he's going to call out an entire crew, which I'll let him handle. So, Chief Ray.
But I say there's strength in numbers, so we just bring numbers with you. I wanted you to be able to put faces to our Member Benefits Committee, and of course, you know Zarina and Marcia that's there with us. We've been working real hard this past year. President Jones has certainly given us a challenge, and that challenge is, as an association, we have great death benefits, and that's a good thing, but we want to have more member living benefits for our members. So we've definitely worked hard on that this year, and got a lot of accomplishments. There's a lot of things I point throughout the year, and all of our committee folks behind me here have really pointed everybody through the year to the website. Really encourage you to get on the website and check that out. You need to do it often. We just got Solstice, which is sunglass manufacturer. They've got a place over here at Broadway at the beach, I believe, to give discounts to firefighters. Palmetto Armory was our latest big one, 5% off any purchase that you make through Palmetto Armory. You'll never know about it. We push it through social media, through Twitter. We push it through the website, and it's certainly on the website under member benefits. But that's a big deal. We want to try to get you as much as we can in member benefits, living benefits that we can, and we're definitely working on that. So please continue to check the website. We need your feedback. I wanted you to see the faces back here so you can see us in passing, and of course you contact us. Our information's on the website as well. Let us know, even if it's a local benefit. We travel all over the state, and firefighters go all over South Carolina, going to different classes. And if you've got a business in your local jurisdiction that will give firefighters a discount, a lot of them will honor the military discounts for firefighters as well, let us know. We want to make sure that's advertised, and we'll certainly put it on our website. So there's statewide benefits and local benefits there as well. We're working on a hotel chain. That's one of the goals that we've tried to work towards this past year, is for a hotel chain, and we're pretty close to that, so we're certainly going to work on it. Our biggest challenge we've had this year, being in member benefits, is we lead out in one of our services to our members is your insurance package, the insurance premium package. We have been blessed as an association not to have an increase for several years. For all the chief officers in here, those administrative, if you're like myself, you haven't been able to dodge that bullet in your local department. We've all had increases and had to deal with that in insurance. Well, we couldn't dodge it anymore as an association. We've been advertising for a year now to let you know in October of this year, there will be a $5 increase in your insurance premium. That is going to cover our benefits for the benefits package. The way I like to explain it, it's a good thing because our members are using their benefits. That is great. Zarina can provide you the numbers. We're using our benefits. But the flip side of using your benefits is just like any insurance company. If you use it, the rates are going to increase. And again, we've dodged that bullet for several years, but we're going to address that this year. So be looking for that. Prepare for that in October. So in your January insurance premiums, there'll be an increase there of $5. Now, with that being said, we were also, through Zarina and Jim, able to add additional benefits. And I don't want to take time because we got a lot on the agenda here, but there's additional benefits that you'll also be receiving that they were able to work out. I do a lot of benefits myself between law enforcement and emergency services, and I can tell you our member benefits package for what you get in your annual dues that you pay for your insurance premium and your membership dues, we got some great benefits, and I hope you appreciate that, and we will continue to work with you. Again, we really need your help on that and your input. Any questions, please come by the booth there in the vendor hall. Jim will be there, Zarina will be there, Marcia, all the folks will be there. They answer questions for you. If you see us walking through, please don't hesitate to pull us to the side and ask us. We need your input, especially, again, if you got some discounts that we can use. We would certainly appreciate it. Now, I want to close with this, get off member benefits just for a minute, but to put a plug. We've advertised as best we could, but I still have folks asking me. We have 2 competitions tonight, of course, Explorers, 6 o'clock, but there is also an adult competition this year, 6 o'clock. You can register tonight at 6 o'clock. 4 people, you got to pull a fire truck, loaded fire truck, got to carry a 6-foot skidder tire, you got to climb over a dump tank, over a ladder, attic ladder over a loaded dump tank full of water, and you got to participate in hose hockey. Basically, we've got a keg that you'll be pushing with water, and that's the only thing you can do. You do that as a 4-person team. The challenge is there. Every department that's here, do you have 4 people that's here that can show up tonight, 6 o'clock, suit up and do it? We challenge you to do it. Come out there, have a good time. We'll have forums at the South Carolina Firefighters Association booth just inside the vendor hall, or just see us out there at 6 o'clock. That is at the front of the convention center, going out on the Oak Street side of the convention center. Again, it's been an honor to serve you at Member Benefits. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Member Benefits Committee, Marcia, Zarina, lots of hard work we put in there on your behalf, and we will continue to do so. Please give us input and contact us if you got any questions. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you so much for letting me take the time to introduce some of my people to come up here. If they'll go ahead and come on stage after these guys get down. Dennis, thank you so much. We work so close with the Benefits Committee, and the insurance company goes hand in hand to make sure that we can offer the best benefits to our membership and to you. So as these guys come up here, we are going to be in the booth. We'd love for you to come by. I know you may have specific questions on policy changes and anything on the increase in dues. You can definitely ask us when you come by. We'd love to have you. We have right here Barry Ballier with Provident Agency, and Jim, if you wave. Jim, they're the 2 main guys that actually do the package that we have for the benefits here. And if you have any questions, they'll be the ones going over that. So we're glad to have them today. We also have TJ and Kyle. Y'all can wave. Yep. With George Johnson Insurance Company. And then we have, Paul Cromer, who is one of our own staff. He's actually with Nationwide and Colonial Life. And beside him, we have Gary Dobson, who owns Prime Benefits. He does the health care for us. And then we have Marcia, which all of you know. She's the one that helps you with anything that you may have. She keeps me straight. So just thank you, and stop by the booth, and we'll answer any questions you may have. Thanks.
Next, I'd like to ask our State Fire Marshal Chief Shane Ray to come offer a few words from the Division of Fire and Life Safety.
Don't worry, my speech is shorter, my book is smaller. From the Division of Fire and Life Safety, on behalf of Governor Haley and Director Pasaric, who I was glad she was here this morning, and all the great men and women at the Division of Fire and Life Safety, and Clarence and Amy down here in the front row, Rick, who did a good job, first time I've ever seen her speak for less than 5 minutes. So thank you, pal. Thank you, pal. We've got a lot of good programs, a lot of good things going on at the Division of Fire and Life Safety, despite me, and it's because of you. With the fact of what we're doing. You've seen some of those programs. We got the new Essential 6 out there. Paul Coombs talked about in his program about how we got to take it to the learner, and the fact that our firefighter skill sheets now, and thanks to JJ and Nate and some of those characters that I've seen around here that are active in the fire service, and all of you all that did the videos that says, here, let's put the skill. You can scan your QR scanner on your smartphones, and a lot of good progressive stuff happening at the Fire Academy. Changing our regions. Now, some of you say, well, that may not be very progressive. We've had 7 regions for a gazillion years, and now we're going to 5 regions. What's that all about? Well, that's trying to put the service closer to you. It's, again, trying to make an alignment with people in service to you, and that's kind of what we're doing. If we mess some of that up, there's opportunity to fix it back. On the fire marshal side, we have a map of our state. When we change deputies, some of that map rearranges. Now, that doesn't mean you're going to change regions all the time. That's not the intent. But certainly saying what goes into effect July 1st with a little regional realignment here is going to try to put service closer to you. If we need to tweak that some in the future, we certainly will. But I hope you work with us through that process as we go forward. The biggest thing I want, go out and see the USAR exhibit. Those men and women have worked hard. And for those of you that are fire chiefs and fire officers out there that loan those fine folks to us, I can't say thank you enough. I brag on that every chance we get. You heard the commitment from the director, from the governor's office. Prior to my leaving, we will submit to the governor's budget staff for the budget for this next year that will include USAR in it. So that'll be a first time ever that it gets continual funding, and I know that'll be supported. But go out there and see them. Thank them for that hard work that they do on that. I'll end up with the Fire Marshal's office. I'm proud that we're on the current codes. That's a major accomplishment. We know that we want to stay on the current codes. We want you to look at that. I can't encourage you. I was very blessed to serve my entire career as a company officer. And as part of that, also being an inspector, I was glad I worked in a system that required me to be a fire inspector. Those buildings in our first due, we were required to do inspections on those. And as a company officer, I not only did the compliance piece, I did the enforcement piece. So it helped me to know that this was a fire area and what a fire door was and what the travel distance, what the means of egress. And it helped me know some of those fire protection features that I probably wouldn't have known if I'd have worked in a different system. So I can't encourage you enough to know that because it plays into effect on the fire ground, and I think it's helped me a lot. And speaking of going to fires, let me say this. Lieutenant Collier was up here from SLED. We've had a great relationship with SLED. Chief Keel and I have talked. We've just passed regulations that say if you as a fire department in South Carolina has a fire fatality, civilian or firefighter, or you have a significant injury of a firefighter, we want you to contact the State Fire Marshal's office immediately. We are not competing with SLED. We do not want to go to be gun-toting fire marshals. We do not want to step on your toes. Our intent is not the investigation part. In state statute, it says the state fire marshal of this state is responsible for cause, origin, and circumstance. We typically do that through incident reporting, and we trust you to do that, and that's fine. We've got a team of people in our community risk reduction section that will help you with that. But why we want to know and go to these fires is because we want to know that circumstance. We cannot actively engage in prevention if we do not know the circumstance. So we want SLED to keep up the high arrest rate, and if you have anything that looks like, smells like, might be arson, okay, that's good. That's what they do. We don't want to do that. But what I do want to do is to be able to tell those stories. The director of LLR, the team at LLR, and the governor's folks know from hearing from us, of us telling your story. So if we've had 43 fire fatalities this year, oh wow, 43. How many had working smoke alarms? How many of this? How many of that? What's the dollar loss? What's the cause of origin? Most of them are unknown. Those are typical statistics. But let me tell you this, what the stats don't tell you is that we've had 5 incidents in this state this year already that involve families, that involved a mother and a son, a mother and a daughter. We had 2 of those back to back in 2 days, a mother and a daughter back to back. We had a father and a son. You all experienced that. We just want to know about it, and we want to know how we can help, because guess what? When I tell those stories, they stick. They're like, oh, that's awful. Right, and we need resources to help do something about it. We need your support. We're not asking for money and those kind of things. We just want to make you aware of this fire problem. We don't want the fact that we're at a 5-year high on fire deaths. We got the latest code, we got this, we got that. It's stats, folks. There's more houses, there's more population, there's more of everything. And so that number's expected to go back up. I've been saying that since 2003. It's pure mathematics. But we need to know those stories. And you say, well, and we had 2 cases where the people have literally, you can hear them die on the phone with smoke alarms going off in the background, called from inside the house. How do we get those stories out there? How do we prevent that? 7 out of those 43 people who have died this year, we believe have either gotten out of the house and gone back in or stayed in to make a rescue. One of those was a neighbor. Now, I can't stand up here as a fire marshal or go anywhere in the state and say, Chief Minnick, do not try to rescue your kids. And you're like, good, I don't need to. I got 75 firefighters in my house, because your house is sprinkled, so I'll pick on somebody else. You can't say, don't go back in. Why? Because, well, you can say it, but are you going to listen to that? With don't go rescue your kids? What kind of public education message do we get for that? I don't know. I don't have that answer, but I can tell you this, if I don't know the story, I can't even think about what possibly to do to try to say don't go. How about this? If you can't see, don't go. Maybe we could have saved the neighbor who tried to rescue the people that said, if you can't see, don't go. Fire's fast. If you can't see, don't go. Fire's fast. Get out, stay out, and you know what I add to is that? Shut the door. Get out, stay out, shut the door. Going to those fires, folks, is how we know how to improve our message to try to save lives in this state and around this country. So by that, please call us. Our community risk reduction folks, our deputy state fire marshals in the field are there to help you. Help you. Not take over, not come in and do something. They're there to help you with reporting. There's a number, 803-896-4911. 896-4911. If you call 896-4911 right now, it'll get our duty officer. And that's a program we're putting in effect now. We're going to market it so that July 1st is when it kicks in, but we want you to call us if you have a fire fatality, just so we can know. Some places, Chief Blackwell called me Memorial Day weekend from Spartanburg and said, man, we had another, it was right down the street from where we were putting in smoke alarms, and we've had another death. We didn't send anybody out there. He didn't need anybody, but he said, we think it may be smoking. I'm like, good, get the cigarettes. Not the cigarette that you think caused the fire, it's probably burned up, but go get the pack of cigarettes. Why? We regulate that in our office. The fire service passed a law regulating and making fire standard compliant cigarettes. We want to make sure that, hey, was this that or not? What was the cause of it? Did it lay on their clothing? Did it lay on the couch? We don't know that if you don't tell us, and we can't look into it. So please tell us. The last thing I'm going to leave you with, smoke alarms. We've been into some of your communities. We've been to Camden. We've been to Aiken. We've been to Great Falls. In Great Falls, 85% of the homes we visited did not have a working smoke alarm. 85%. Aiken was 52%. Camden was in that same range of 52%. We need to know those things, and you need to put in for fire prevention grants that help us help you with the fact that says, get the alarms, we'll provide some resources and try to help you canvass those neighborhoods. We printed door hangers to hang on houses that were built in 2004. Why? 10 years. Replace your alarm at 10 years. Most of the citizens don't know that. When I tell that story in a staff meeting at LLR, they're like, what? They don't know that. I'm proud to say one of the team members at LLR that wasn't even here with us today, but runs a major section of LLR, building a new house. Guess what he put in that house? Fire sprinklers. Why did he do that? He came to a side-by-side burn. It's about education. We can educate. We can keep up the good work. I know you all will doing that. Thank you, thank you, thank you for letting me serve with you for this time, and I look forward to supporting you and helping you throughout the rest of my career. Thank you very much.
Chief John Bowers from the Camden Fire Department is the chair of our bylaws committee this year, and I would ask him to come out and give a little information on some upcoming bylaws changes, proposed bylaws.
Good afternoon. I would also like to echo some thoughts that you've heard earlier about my pleasure at serving under our current president, Jonathan Jones, and echo what I've already heard about the good job that he has done this year leading this great association. I do come before you as the bylaws chair to tell you about a proposed bylaws change. Now, tomorrow during the business section in this room, you'll have an opportunity to vote on whether or not you want a bylaws change that our committee recommends to be changed, and it's also approved by the executive committee for a change. It's simply housekeeping. It's nothing to get alarmed of. You know that your bylaws is the backbone that regulates how we run the business of this association, and it's a very vital and important document. In some years past, and there's been a lot of incarnations of our bylaws, but as they have been rewritten, there's been some parts that have been left in that are kind of redundant and unnecessary. The bylaws committee and your executive committee is going to recommend to you to delete chapter 11 in its entirety of the bylaws. And what chapter 11, and I invite you, I think this will be on the screen for you tomorrow to look at, but it simply dictates how this business meeting in Myrtle Beach is run, basically in order. And because in chapter 6, your association's bylaws already dictates that we will use Robert's Rules of Order, that chapter 11 is redundant and unnecessary. It's become antiquated, in my opinion, and in the bylaws committee's opinion, as well as the executive committee. It's not necessary, and it encumbers the president and the executive committee's ability to change the order of procedures that limits their flexibility in bringing you the programming and the different things that they think is important. So if you have a chance between now and then, take a look at that section. I'll be available and be out here to answer any questions that you have. I think it's a no-brainer, and when you look at it, I think you'll agree that it's an easy change. It's just a housekeeping issue, and I think it'll be on the boards for you tomorrow to look at, and simply just remember two things. Robert's Rules of Order dictates how we run this association, and Chapter 11 is the one that we're proposing to eliminate, which speaks to how this meeting at the beach is run. It's redundant and unnecessary, and please consider that. And again, I'll be available if you have any questions. Thank you.
Deputy Chief Kyle Minnick from the North Charleston Fire Department, among his many duties this year as fourth vice president, I'm sorry, I got out of order. But he's also chairing our Sprinkler Coalition, and he's going to give you some remarks about the activities of the Sprinkler Coalition.
I promise I'll be brief. I told Rick Dunn, since they only gave him 5 minutes, they gave me 15 to talk. But I do want to thank the association again this year for being an active supporter of residential sprinklers and allowing me to co-chair the Sprinkler Coalition again with Chief Carter Jones, retired from Clarendon County. And he and I got together and we started doing a little bit of education and trying to figure out how to get our product, if you will, out further into the community, into the state of South Carolina. So two of the major projects we started working on this year was looking for funding. And one of the projects we're looking for funding for is the 25th anniversary of sounding the alarm. 25 years ago, our state got together and had a summit in Charleston to talk about smoke alarms, so how to get working smoke alarms into the residents of South Carolina to reduce the fire fatalities. And I didn't write down the number. I wish I would have that card to put out, but South Carolina was leading, one of the leaders in the nation in fire fatalities 25 years ago. And by installing those smoke alarms, we started to see a drastic reduction in deaths amongst our citizens. So we want to revisit that 25 years later. So we're seeking funding. We've applied for a grant. We're hoping to get that to go out to revisit that, put more smoke alarm blitz in the state of South Carolina, and just follow up with some educational components on residential fire sprinklers. Another project we've been working on this year, and thanks to Shane and his staff at LLR, Jenna Pritchett and Josh Stout, is we're again seeking funding. Everything goes back to money, but we're seeking funding from a separate source to go out and install residential sprinklers in the state of South Carolina. And we're working with Josh and Jenna to look at some statistics and some data and actually have an application process for those out there who may have lost their homes to a fire or had a death due to fire in their homes, and take that money and come back in as they rebuild the house and install a residential sprinkler in that. We talked last year that we wasn't going to fight. We didn't want to fight home builders. We didn't want to fight anyone on residential sprinklers. We wanted to educate. And I'm very happy to say your coalition has been actively working to educate across our state. Side-by-side burns was one of the biggest things we've done. And the South Carolina Fire and Life Safety Educators is a big partner with us. And last year in 2013, they did 18 burns alone. This year they've already done 4, and they got 12 more scheduled. Along with them, we got together with the Southeastern Association of Fire Chiefs last year, did a side-by-side burn for the fire chiefs in the southeastern part of the United States in North Charleston. And then we turned around and partnered up with the Burton Fire District to do the Leadership South Carolina side-by-side burn. And I think that one was important because that was 50 members of our state from local government, from big industry, from big business. They came down to the Burton Fire District, spent 3 days with Jim Steele, his staff, and brought us in to talk about residential fire. We set up 2 side-by-sides. We showed one unprotected, one protected, and we think we've made a great impact with some leaders around the state. Your coalition was also honored last year in Chicago by NFPA for being a Bringing Safety Home award recipient. So I'm very proud of all of our members who's been working hard to get out and really educate there. Again, it goes back to that key word. And we participated with the Common Voices, Ms. Vicky's group, up in Columbia this year with residential sprinklers. So we're out there. We want to get out there. We're asking you to call us, contact us. Last year after this conference, the Hartsville Fire Department took us up on that offer, and we spent a day with them with the PD, Habitat for Humanity. And I think we've made inroads with Habitat for Humanity to show that for less than $1.31 a square foot, we can install those residential sprinklers into a community that they are building. Lastly, I do want to thank NFPA and Common Voices. They have been a big supporter. Part of what they've done this year is your little blue bags that you guys are going to be getting and as you register. If you see our logo on the backside, NFPA and Common Voices sponsored those bags. NFPA with Randy Travers and Randy Safer and Tim Travers, can't say enough. They are in South Carolina as much as they can be. When they're not here, they're supporting us from Tennessee and from Massachusetts with anything we need. So please, guys, take advantage of this free program. We would love to come out to your community. We'd love to get involved with the side-by-side burn. Anything you need educational-wise, whether it's more of the USB thumb drives, whether it's just pamphlets, handouts, whether you just want us to come out and talk to a civic group, a Habitat for Humanity, we have programs for that. So we'd love to get out there. We want to touch as many of our citizens as we can. And as soon as we find out if these grants have come through, we're going to let you know how we can get out, install sprinklers, and get this sounding the alarm revisited. Thank you.
For our final presentation this afternoon, I'll ask Cheryl Holland from Abacus Planning Group. Abacus Planning Group manages the association's retirement funds and our investments. So she's going to have a report on the progress of our funds. So thank you.
Thank you, Jonathan. And it will be a brief report, which I know it's cold in here to keep us awake, but we're ready to go. I just want to make a few points. The very first one is to share with each of you delegates when you go back to your departments that these are the players in the responsibilities for making sure the retirement plan is successful. And two of those groups are here today, Toledano Associates and Abacus Planning Group, of which I'm president, at the conference booth to answer any questions you may have while you're here at the conference. The next group of names are the trustees for the plan. These are the men that you've elected over time to have responsibility to you to make sure that everyone involved in the retirement plan is doing the right job, focused on the right issues, and is responsible to you all to make sure that you have your money in retirement when you're ready to leave and go on to happier things in your later age. I thought y'all would like to see a few quick facts, and I'm just going to point out 3 to you. There are 10,000 paid and volunteer participants in the retirement plan, which is an amazing number, and it gets bigger every year. The other thing to focus on, as of the end of May, the plan balance was $50,469,000. So we've really grown over the past 7 years that Abacus has been involved, partly through growth in the markets and partly through participation and contributions from your departments on your behalf. And finally, when you get your statements in July, that'll be December through June, at this point you'll see a positive number. We have 2 more weeks to go, and you never know what the stock market might decide to do, but it looks like you'll have another 6 months of positive increase in the balance in your retirement plan. Finally, I want to share a few ways that you can connect with us. You can always pick up the phone and call either Toledano and Associates. They're the ones who'll tell you, how can I get my money out? When can I get a check? How much money do I have in the balance? And you can call Abacus Planning Group. We're responsible for investing the money. Happy to answer any question, anytime, any day you have one about how's the plan invested, how are you thinking about the future. We want to serve you. We call the chiefs every year for a survey to see if they have questions. We do a webinar twice a year. The next one is July 29th at 1 p.m. You'll get a participant letter with your statement, and we'll give you the details of that. And we'll send an email to anybody who would like to join us just as a member. Come by the booth, give me your business card. I'll make sure you are on an email list that we have. I just want to finally invite you this afternoon. We're going to have sessions on helping firefighters with their financial planning questions. So if you'll come, we'll answer the kinds of questions you may have about how do I create a secure future for my family and for me, and we'll answer anything from how do I invest money in my 401k from the state, if that's a question, to do I have the right kind of mortgage, or how do I send my kids to college. So we welcome you to come to that. We hope you have a great turnout, and we look forward to seeing you also Saturday morning at the conference if you have more questions you'd like to ask specifically about the retirement plan. Thank you, Jonathan.
In closing, we still have an afternoon chock full of activities and courses beginning as soon as this is over at 2:45. Again, you can see on your programs the different classes that we have. Again, featuring specifically Cheryl. I appreciate you talking about that. Abacus Planning Group. They're not just about investing; they're about educating. And we appreciate their partnership. They've given us access and done some research on different financial planning tools, everything again from investing to debt management. And they're also partnering with us this year in teaching a class on financial freedom. It's about dollars and cents, common sense, so to speak. And again, also Mike and Paul Combs' classes. We've got ISO. We've got David Griffin talking about organizational learning. Of course, Brunacini with no-brainer management. And then Rick and John Salk, Rick Lasky, John Salk with a kitchen table. Todd Jennings, Dennis Ray, the Tiger Schmittendorf, the names go on and on. We've just got some excellent programs this afternoon. Again, please take advantage of these educational opportunities, and we'll see you tomorrow. Thank you.